Oh, it's time. Time to get radical.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Radical Comment of the Week for June the 28th through July 4, 2021. These are the very best comments from that time period. Starting out with the honorable mentions, we got GTV Japan, Art Bell, and Blaze Panzer. The bronze medal is going to come to us from Logi, formerly Logi Cost. I never thought the Hawks or Suns would get this deep into the playoffs. Never. That said, even with all their pieces in Milwaukee, their coaching and star player have flaws that can and will be exploited. I think CP3 is going to get a ring. I really do. Ayton's development has kind of flown under my radar, but he seems to have developed quite well. His defense is questionable, but the Suns have very good chemistry, and Booker is having a breakout postseason. Suns fans have to be happy at how the culture in Phoenix has seemingly turned from a losing culture to a winning culture. For the Bucks, the hump is Giannis himself. He can be countered in the postseason, and if CP3 and Devin remain healthy, I think Milwaukee gets exposed in the finals. So I agree with your assessment of the eventual finals contenders, but not who will eventually win it all. Hawks are a young team that did well to get this far, but their best isn't good enough, and I expect players to leave before the start of next season. They can't afford to keep everyone. The LA Clippers, God, I thought this team was going to be unbeatable 2 seasons ago. Kawhi's knees are going to turn to jelly soon, and Paul George is a flawed superstar. Given what they gave up to get both, they have one more shot next year, but that's it. And what a shame it is to see. Still, they got the Jazz out, who were looking on fire near the end of the shortened season. Big props for that. Peace. Many things you bring up here. About the Clippers, yeah, Kawhi, everything rests on Kawhi and those legs. I don't know if you really can build a team around Kawhi. It's a weird concept to build a team around Kawhi. You can build a team around someone like Chris Paul, but to build around Kawhi, who has the health concerns, who isn't a netter, hey, you know what? Paul George, you're going to get the most. What he showed you was Paul George. He's not that next level of a star. He is a great number 2. One of the best number 2s in the league, but he's not a number 1. And you can argue, in the ways you need him, Kawhi is really not specifically a number 1. Now, going to the Suns, they're just great. I mean, Chris Paul is a great team leader. Ayton's coming along. Booker, his offense is just outstanding. You pretty much got all the pieces, even their role players. They had a role player that had 27 points the last game. That team goes pretty deep, but it gets better than that. They got great coaching too. So that is a juggernaut. I don't see Milwaukee, getting more than a game on them. And Giannis, he really can't do it alone. Giannis is an offensive force in himself. He's arguably the best player in that final series when it comes to, well, a lot of different measures, not taking anything away from him, but he got flaws. Oh, yes, he does. Free throw shooting is a flaw. They might start hacking him. I mean, he's a lot better than Ben Simmons, but his free throw shooting is a big flaw that will be exploited. His lack of ability to, shoot threes or from distance is a flaw. Famously, the Heat built a wall last year. It didn't work that well this year, but they built a wall to keep Giannis out of the paint, But yeah, really great coaching, a great team. I don't see and the Bucks, they're not that bad. When they want to be good, they are great. But I just don't have faith in their secondary stars to do it. Suns are going to get a ring. Chris Paul is going to get his moment. Thank you, Logi. The silver medal comes to us from Haddam 10 Rose. Here's a random thought. You know how all these e-beggars say how YouTube is work? Well, maybe that comes from the old saying, if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Well, these people don't actually like what they're doing. So it's work for them to put the content out because they don't actually like making it and editing it. They find it dull or boring because there are other things they'd rather be doing. But no one is going to watch that. Case in point, Unlisted Leaf has a second channel he tried to push for a while talking about men's fashion. None of his childish audience wanted to do have anything to do with that. MJR doesn't really know anything about video games, but talk to him about metal music and his face will light up and he'll actually be able to talk about it. These e-beggars aren't stupid. They know how good they got it. Wait, you mean to tell me I can get paid well above minimum wage just for continuing to make this malarkey? Okay, it's off to make another one. Their hearts aren't in it anymore. Because it never really was in it, they were never really in it in the first place. Even 25 Seeing doesn't want to do his anti-SJW content, but sticks with it because it makes him money. He admits it more often than you'd think. He'd rather spend time playing Magic or dealing with the claw machines, but he found that doesn't lead to clicks. The nerd? He lets everyone else do everything and just shows up and reads his line. Even in his rental reviews, he seems like an actor stuck on a crappy soap opera after his film career falls apart. Okay, so yeah, here are my thoughts on enter Ray 980's movie title. They don't care anymore, so that's why their hobby feels like work. Just a thought. Well, you might be onto something there, Haddington Rose. You might be onto something. Maybe a lot of these YouTubers that you mentioned, they do actually call it work and view it as work, even though it used to be, they used to call it a hobby. But now they call it work because I guess there's expectations on everything, right? They call it work because there's expectations. I remember there's this one guy, what was it? The one guy that reads the magazines, is that who it is? I forget that dude. Classic Gaming Quarterly or something. He talked about how even when he started, he would get kind of mad when people wanted to donate, And he says what changed is that there's a lot of people like some about baking cookies, and there's a lot of people wanting cookies now, so then it becomes work, I don't believe in that. I don't believe that, Work is work. YouTube and talking about or reading video game magazines, that ain't work just because you have a lot of people that want to watch you or listen to you. Nothing changes about the mechanic of uploading. Review Tech USA, for instance, I'm a news network. This is my work. No, it's not. It's you babbling on about things in video game articles. Something almost anyone can do. What's to keep other people from doing it? Maybe they don't have the editing stuff. Maybe they don't have a mic. Like, I can look at the work, for instance, of Review Tech USA's entire channel, and I could double it. I could double my video output. And I'm not even like one of the most invested people on this platform. I have a lot of side interests and hobbies, trim most notably, but I could actually outdo someone that views this platform as their work. That's why I will never call it work, but they will sometimes call it work because many of these people are just miserable. They show up and it's actually become so twisted that it's not their passion anymore. Hey, guess what? Here's what you do, right? Be honest with yourselves. Be honest with yourselves. At least come out and be honest with your audience, right? Maybe Metal Jesus needs to come out one day. Guys, I don't know much about video games at all. In fact, I'm just kind of keeping up this whole thing because it's all I really can do right now because I'm just so fucking lazy, But you know what? I'm so lazy that I'm just... Okay. I could go into a whole thing, but I don't know. You know what? That seems like work, Haddington Rose. Doing the whole Metal Jesus thing. That fucking seems like work to me, right? Hey, there's a twist. Seems like work. I'll let y'all marinate on that for a little bit. Maybe some of you will understand. Thank you, Hampton Rose. Now we get to the gold medalist. A first gold medalist in Blaze Panzer. And let's just put this in perspective. You get a gold medal, right? Haddington Rose got the silver. So this shit got to be good, baby. Got to be good. I think that these streaming services such as Spotify and Netflix are being used as Trojan horses by big name media companies to gain a monopoly of sorts. Think about it. If you can get virtually unlimited music, movies, TV shows, audiobooks, video games, etc. for a low monthly price, then all physical forms of media and eventually digital downloads will ultimately end up being dead-end business ventures. Once that happens, these services will jack up the prices of the services. Right now, for example, you can get at least one video, music, audiobook, and video game streaming service for about maybe $50 a month combined. But that's only because the biggest bulk of the media from these services already made a profit or will make a profit from other sales, digital download, or physical media. Once streaming services reaches a critical mass, however, you'll see physical media begin to die out, with perhaps some holdouts, but most of your entertainment will be locked behind a monthly paywall. However, with the streaming service now being the sole income earner for most companies, their share of $14 per month subscription model won't cut it anymore. And thus you'll have both a balkanization of the streaming services and a massive increase in price. Say imagine paying $40 a month for Spotify plus having an audio ad between each song, or paying $90 a month for Netflix with ads just for one viewer. Here's an example to explain the problem. If you had a streaming service with 300 games, each splitting a $14 monthly subscription fee and 30 million subscribers, each game would make about $1.4 million a month. Even if one of those games took 60 million to make, you would need to keep the same or better subscription count for 42 months, or 3.5 years, just to make a profit. In order to start seeing a profit on games that cost 60 million within 2 months, you need a subscription service which charged $100 a month, had 100 million subscribers, or had no more than 300 games. Under that model, each game would make about 33 million a month. Yes, the Trojan horse. What is a Trojan horse? The Trojan horse was a hollow wooden statue of a horse which the Greeks concealed themselves in order to enter Troy. A person or thing intended secretly to undermine or bring about the downfall of an enemy or opponent. The idea being basically that these subscription services, right now they seem like fantastic deals, great deals, but that they are secretly little Trojan horses, right? We look at Trojan horses as maybe a virus. Maybe you click on something, maybe it's something you don't need to be clicking on, but it looks appealing to you, maybe involving ladies, you know what I'm saying? But then there's a backdoor Trojan that actually installs itself onto your computer. The idea being, with these services, which is a possible future, that they might go up. Now, I don't see any future to where Netflix is $90 a month. That would be insane. But what about $20, $25, $30 a month? If they get rid of Blu-rays and there's no more physical media with which to buy your movies on, what happens when you actually have to go with these services? Look at Game Pass. Great deal right now. Can't say enough great things about Game Pass, but what will Game Pass look like in 4 or 5 years? What if there's no physical games to buy? What if everything is digital? Like everything is digital. You might say, well, there's no way that Game Pass will, be 40, 50, 60 bucks a month. That's insane. But what if you sold to people like, well, you know what? There's no other way to get your gaming. You can't buy video games right now. So then you see these people right now rubbing their greedy hands together and how much money they could actually make when they mandate that you have to be part of a service just to play video games. You have to be part of a service just to listen to and, get your music. Got to be part of a service just to watch your movies. That would be the real Trojan horse. Hopefully, that never happens. But what you bring up is actually terrifying. Terrifying.